Hello, everyone. And today we are going to talk about overwhelm at work. What happens to us when we are overwhelmed? Why we get overwhelmed? Our goal in 95 Spirituality is to give you new information on concept and dilemmas that has been part of our organization life, either as personal or as an organization, as long as I can remember, and I've been over 20 years. So I guess as ancient as time. Let's talk about and define overwhelm for a second. Overwhelm can be about a lot of things, but usually is where we feel that we are stressed and we unnecessarily can focus it in one place. So, it's not a task that I'm stressed about, because that would not be overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is overall I'm stressed and I don't know, and I live in limbo and I have no even understanding to what is going on. Lena, do you see differently about the sensation of overwhelm?
Yeah, I think it's when we pile too many things to do into our day and we think that everything needs to be done. And I personally can completely relate to it. I was in a space for many, many years where I would think about how much I had to do for my job. And then I was running business on the side, and then I've got kids. So when I had to think about, and I still wanted to squeeze my gym, I mean, my exercise is very important to me. So then I would literally get myself into the state of panic where I've got to wake up at 5. I've got to go for a 10-mile run. Then I've got to go shower. I've got to get kids up, get them to school, go to work. And I was really, really busy there, like so many things. And then basically do everything backwards. And when I thought about this whole situation, it was just overwhelming for me. So what firstly really started to help me, and that's really by becoming more aware of my energy, my time, my sanity, is to firstly understand that not everything has to be done, and definitely that not everything needs to be done perfectly, right? So whereas before, for example, and I'm going to use a practical example, I'm sure there's moms or dads out there that come home and think they've got to cook the kids like a gourmet meal for their family. I just simplify that. But even that small, simple thing just, really collapsed the time that I was allocating to it in my mind. And then another thing I've realized, I didn't maybe have to do 10 miles in the morning. I could just stretch, or I could just do something different. So when you actually then start breaking up your day into small, manageable tasks, you can actually then start seeing, well, do I really need to do that? And second, well, can I reduce the amount of time I'm allocating to it? Because I bet anyone that, especially, if you've got long to-do lists, if you think you've got to accomplish certain things, actually, if you really kind of write it all down and ask yourself, does every single thing needs to be done? And the most important thing is, what will happen if I don't get to it today?
So I think, Lena, I want to build off what you said, because I think this is what I wanted to say. We are looking at the activities, and I believe, and this is why I said that we need a structure, we need the goals, and we need to understand why we're doing stuff, not just for the activity, but for the long run. And I think the sense of overwhelm comes from those missing understanding, meaning that if we're talking about work, for example, and I've got like a gazillion tasks, if I know what my activity is in the big role of scheme, I would understand what is the priority. And then I can answer the question, does it has to be now? So you went to personal, for example, I'm coming home and I think I need to cook a gourmet meal for my kids. So first I need to understand, what am I trying to achieve by dinner time? If that's conversation, it doesn't really matter what is the food on the table. If I want to have a healthy food, there is multiple options that not involve me cooking. So instead of looking at the activities and what should be done, we need to first understand what we are aiming. What is the true aim and the goal of the activities in the workplace? What project, what task, what are the deadlines? And then only when we have the structure, which is always based for me, a simple thing called information, we would be able to minimize the overwhelm, because we would already know what is the best priority line, what needs to be done. Do I even need to say to somebody, there is no way I'm going to make it, maybe we should change the deadline? When you know logically what you need to do, I think that the overwhelm sensation just goes away. And I feel that overwhelmed in those cases, personal and organizational one, is confusion and misinformation more than anything else.
Yeah, and the thing is also, I think it's important to ask yourself, what am I trying to prove, right? Because am I trying to prove I am like the hardest working person in my team? That's why I'm going to stay extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes longer. Am I trying to prove that the document I write is like the best version of the document? So I'm going to double check spelling and make sure everything's in perfect alignment. So I believe perfectionism is one of the biggest causes of overwhelm. And like, one of my favorite phrases is perfectionism is the killer of the dream. So just to realize that we are doing best with what we are given, and that our energy, our sanity are the most important things for us. And if we don't look after ourselves, if we don't make ourselves a priority, if we don't choose ourselves, nobody else will. So first of all, the question should be, is this really important? And if it's important, can I simplify this? Do I have the energy to do that? And I mean, actually, I would even change the order. For me, is always, do I have the energy to do that? And what I've noticed is when I really started simplifying my lives, meaning that I stopped making those gourmet meals, I stopped running 10 miles and I still fit and still healthy. And also looking at my day, looking at the daily task, like what I've got to do. And I do juggle many things. I've got 2 businesses. Sarit and I are doing this channel. At one stage, I also had a full-time job, but I would always look at my day and think, what one thing out of all of these things I need to do would light me up the most? What is the one most exciting thing I can do? Maybe it's to record a video. Maybe it's to do something else. And I know when it comes to obviously a job, in a job, I guess we are less flexible, but I promise you can find at least one thing on your list that will energize you the most. And then you've got to start your day with that task. I always keep on saying how important it is to prioritize our excitement, because when you feel excited, you naturally have more energy. And then when you have energy, then you can just get through those to do things on your list just with more efficiency, and also I guess like just more happiness throughout the day.
So information is part of understanding what you want and your goals. It's all information that we can base on. So basically you need to ask yourself new questions, and instead of letting that sensation of overwhelm, just get you frustrated, get you stuck, we gave you a lot of new ideas to think about it. Ask yourself new questions that you haven't asked before, even if questioning that is that if that task even should be done or not. That's a new way of thinking. So start questioning, and you see the more conversation and the more questioning you will do, the sensation of overwhelm will go down. The overwhelm is energy wasted, by the way. Lena would agree to that because the overwhelm takes the energy out of us. We're spiraling, we're devoting our energy, and no productivity and no progress has been done to that. By shifting your mind to actually asking question, you ground yourself. When we are saying ground yourself, meaning you are getting your energy balanced for you to be focused and to start asking yourself questions that are aligned with who you are. As Lena said, what is your energy, what drives you, what doesn't drive you, information like the project, the task, what is the priority of the organization, where are we going, every information that you can, the minute you shift your energy to asking questions and getting more clarity, the more decision you will get, the more you will prioritize your day, the more you will get to a decision. I'm not running 10 miles because that's the only way I can get fit, and so on. So it will be able to get you to where you want. And overwhelm is part of our life. It's part of organization life. I don't know organization that does not, run projects, even if it's agile, and at the end, something happened. You have to know life happens. Life is not. But the minute you are thinking about how you're handling the overwhelm, and the minute it comes, you already got the practices on how to do it. At least we gave you a tool on how to deal with it in the next time.
Yeah, so I want to actually add something really important, and something I've noticed also in the past. When we get overwhelmed, because obviously there's like too much that needs to be done, we start moving even faster, right? It's like, well, let me move faster and then I can accomplish things. But actually that drains us even more. And sometimes the best thing we can do is actually to pause. to pause and slow down, and even maybe take yourself away from the laptop, from the work environment, wherever it makes you feel overwhelmed, and just go for a 10-minute walk. Because when we physically slow down, energetically we speed up, and energy is our highest currency. And I'm sure you've noticed days that when you've got energy, you feel excited. It's like you just have the most incredible day, right? Or when you're busy, you're running from meeting to meeting, it feels like you're not accomplishing anything. You're like literally spinning around in circles. So whenever you feel that sense of overwhelm, obviously breathing is also really good. But what works really, really for me is just to step away, just to take like 10 minutes chill, to sit on a couch or to go for a walk or even make a cup of coffee and not even think about work. Because when you are energized, when you are rested, not only you will start moving naturally faster, but you will get new ideas. And that's how inspired actions, and we did a whole video on inspired actions, come from, because we take many actions throughout the day and not all of them are even necessary. We're just taking them because that's our human minds tell us that's what we need to do. And the more we do that, the more we accomplished. But when we allow ourselves to pause, we get this inspirational idea. That's when creativity starts flowing. And you're like, hang on a second, I've always done it this way, this way, or I can maybe do it this way. And you get this epiphany, a breakthrough. And all of a sudden, this list of 20 things that you had to do maybe goes down by 5. And then the more you practice that stillness and slowing down, you will start shrinking the list and you will move through your day a lot faster with a lot less overwhelm.
So, Lena, you're saying that doing stuff or not necessarily doing more connected to our productivity? Shocked.
That is a shock, right? Yeah. We measure productivity by time and effort, right? Instead of measuring it by energy. And there's a big shift that I believe, organizations and people really need to make. Do I have the energy to do that? And if not, I promise you, it doesn't even need to be like any massive long break where you're like off for 3 hours. Just 5 minutes to sit and reconnect, to breathe, to go for a walk. That will reset your nervous system. It will reset, and it will also like increase your capacity to just, to work more productively rather than just to work destructively.
So overwhelm is an exercise to get your priorities straight, to understand, to get information, to try new things, ask new questions, decide you're doing things in new ways. So it's actually could be a good thing, as we said. So I hope you get some good information.
Just summarize this quick. So let's just summarize this quick. I know because we poll quite a lot.
That's what I wanted to do, but okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I sometimes get too excited about our chats.
It's okay. So you're more excited than me. Go for it.
Awesome. So overwhelm is just that feeling in your body that lets you know that something is off track. It's basically your intuition's telling you, it's like, hang on a second, something isn't right. Let's rethink this. So asking yourself questions like, firstly, do I really have to do everything on this to-do list? So that's a really good question. What am I trying to prove, right? Am I trying to be this perfect mom, or am I trying to be this like perfect employee who outworks, outsmarts everyone else? The third one is slowing down is really important, not speeding up, because actually speeding up will drain you more. And trust me, when you are drained and overwhelmed, it's not a pretty combination. But when you allow yourself some space to just take a break, take a pause, you will see that levels of overwhelm slow like the lesson, and you can actually start breathing. Breathing is also not a good technique. There was something else, Sarit. What did I miss?
No, I don't know what you missed. I just wanted to say that overwhelm for me is not that something is wrong. The definition for me, overwhelm, because life happened, we can't avoid it. It doesn't mean that something wrong. It's just the nature of things for me. And I think it's came for us to push us to the next level, and meaning to question what we did and to try new things. And for me, actually, overwhelm it's a good thing, because if everything will be good, then we will stay in our comfort zone. I think life will be boring. But that's just who I am.
No, and that makes sense. It's like with stress, right? The certain amount of stress is good for us because it kind of pushes us to do certain things. But when it gets too much, this is when we really have to regroup and ask ourselves.
Then it means I didn't, or for me, overwhelming stress is two different things, but maybe the fact that I'm not a native English speaker make that distinguish for me. But stress for me, it's overwhelm is small. still something that I can manage. If I took overwhelm and make it to stress, yes, I should have stopped and start to deal with it before. But what did you forget? That we need information. That information and grounding yourself will get you the clarity and the new decision, the new priority that you need. So I really hope to provide you some good tips today, and I will see you at the next time.
Bye.